Super excited to be on the line with everybody here this morning, April 25th, 2020. It's amazing how fast everything just flies by when you're quarantined and quarantined and trying to make it fun, no less, right? So with that being said, super excited to be on the line with you guys here this morning with some incredible guests that are going to share some insights with you guys. These are some of the fastest growing franchise owners in our region, in the Southeast region. So I have on the line with us executive coordinators, soon to be senior master coordinators, because they are absolutely on fire. They are actually quarantined right now over in the Texas area, which is where they're stuck at this point. So we have Shane and Tanya Hoevelman. So good morning to you guys.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. We can hear you. All right. Fantastic. And then we have senior master coordinator, which means that she's earned in excess of $3,000 within a 4-week pay cycle. Soon to be professional coordinator, making things happen over in the Orlando area. We have Missy Mitchell.
Good morning.
Morning, Missy. Glad you're on with us this morning. And then we also have professional coordinator, which means that she's earned in excess of $4,500 within a 4-week pay cycle. And she resides down near the Sarasota area. We have Alexandra Cummings. Good morning, Alexandra.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes. So going to go through a lot of information with everybody today. But as we kick it off and get things started this morning, the first thing I want to do is share my screen and have a little chat with everybody. Let's see. We'll go here. And then I'm going to go to Facebook. So in the Southeast region, you guys, everybody should be following the MA Southeast Region Facebook group. I believe many of you guys are. But just as a heads up, make sure that you are in here. One of the things you're going to want to do is, first thing is, and you should do this on every Facebook group that you want to be tied into and making sure that you're locked in, is on the notification tab. Right below the cover photo for that Facebook group, it has different ways you can receive notifications. And usually it sets up for highlights. So if you don't want to miss a post that's coming out as a news and announcement or things that are moving and shaking, you're going to want to check the box that says all posts. And therefore you don't miss a post. And the other thing is there's always announcements at the top. And so if you ever want to see any important announcements that are coming up, so therefore any trainings that are coming up, please post on the event tab of this Facebook group. So that's super important. There's always going to be an event tab. If you click that event tab, it'll tell you what we have coming up. So today, here you go right here. This is this morning, 9 o'clock. Next Saturday, May 2nd, I just posted this. So you're going to want to have this dialed in. We're going to be talking children's wellness with none other than Dr. Dwight Franklin. And this is an area that he specializes in. So super pumped to have him on with us next Saturday to discuss children's wellness. So make sure that you click on the invite. Also, another quick tip for everybody is when you click on register for the webinar tab, notice below, it says very important. After you register, you guys, anytime you're registering, the system automatically is going to email you a specific link to log into that meeting the next week. So you need to save that because that's the one you're going to use to log in. And don't share that one with anyone else. You only share the invite with people. But once you receive a confirmation that you have been officially registered, now it remembers your name, your email, and all your stuff in the system. So that way when you log in, it pops up really simple and you can see what's happening and log in and everything is good to go. So just want to make sure everybody sees that part, which is really, really important. And then also, let's go back to this. I'm going to go in here. I want to acknowledge a few people. One of the things I'm going to do each and every week is we're just going to take a look at Facebook. We're going to scroll through and see who's most active and who's really rocking these Zooms and who's making things happen. And so on here, a question came through. By the way, if a question comes through and you think you got a great answer, feel free to chime in and answer a question. We had a question come through on the 23rd here from a new unfranchised owner asking about comparatives on products, SNAP products and stuff like that. So that was sitting in here this morning and I was like, okay, I guess maybe nobody knows where to find that. So Cullen will answer it at this point. But out of the 1,000 people we have in our Facebook group, I'm assuming the rest of you know where to find some of these comparisons, but they're on the website, man. You go to the website, you click on the benefit of the product that you're looking at, and then it's going to pop up. And so in this case, it's the all-purpose cleaner, and then it'll compare it to 409 Windex and different things like that to show people how much money they're saving and what's going on. So it's pretty slick that we have all of that. If there is a comparison, you're going to see a comparison, which is great. If there's not, due to ingredients and things like that, then you won't. So look, a couple of different tips for everybody. When you're doing a Zoom, take a screenshot. And if you don't know how to do a screenshot on your computer, type in, how do I do a screenshot in a Google search? And Google will teach you how to do a screenshot and take a picture while you're in the middle of a meeting. And therefore you can highlight. And I want to highlight different people every week who are doing these Zooms, little small group Zooms, you guys, in order to tie things in. And then you might be doing larger style ones. One of these, this was me like showing the plan one on three. And so meeting with 3 people at the same time, ABC pattern. Trinity had a number of them. I'm sure she's going to be posting hers later today too. I've been trying to teach Trinity how to take a screenshot. She's like, Cullen, I'm just happy to get through the Zoom. Like, chill out, and I'm laughing. But she's just like, hey, just take a photo. If you're like, all right, I'll just take up my cell phone and take a photo of the screen. That works too. I mean, it's going to have a little reflection in it or whatever, but who cares? Later today, we also have a special Zoom that's happening with Dr. Ed Flores, 10:30 Central Times, which is 11:30 Eastern Time. So that got posted yesterday as well. Tanya, awesome job here welcoming a new business partner. Fantastic. So JR posted in, and so he was posting about Pip and Beth Black. They're moving and shaking. A lot of great things happening with them. Sarah Rudisell posted in. Let's see here. This is where we got to cheer each other on, you guys. Everything's one thing and it's energy, but if we don't see anything, then I'm just assuming that there's probably not much happening with you maybe. Not really. For many of you, I know you're doing a lot. You're just like not posting it. So I want to see who is really making things happen. And if I go back over the last week here, we have a number of announcements of things that are coming up. If you missed last week's, here's the YouTube recording of last week's. People are like, hey, where do I find that recording? It's like, yeah, it's in the Southeast Region Facebook group underneath YouTube. We don't have everything recorded, you guys. And a piece of it is because we want to make sure people are attending live events and what's happening. So that's another piece of it as well. So just want to throw that out there. Anna Reed, excellent job. Anna took a screenshot here of activity that they got moving and shaking and working with Corinne and so forth with her team. So way to go, Anna Reed, posting into this. And I think that takes us back
Colleen,
about a week ago now.
Can I edit something if you are on the page? Just one tip for everyone.
Yeah.
When every one of you see on your left side, it says search this group. This is where you can guys find something even by word. If you're looking, let's say for like an old post or something, or let's say back office, or you're looking for TLS, you type the word and they searching on this group particular this thing. So you can go by this as well.
There you go. Great tip. Love it. So that's pretty simple in the search box. Just type it in. And sometimes it might not be the top post either. So you got to kind of scroll through it a little bit. Sometimes for some odd reason, it doesn't sort it perfectly. Not quite sure. Facebook with all the money that they got, why it doesn't sort it perfectly all the time. But, it is what it is. So just want to throw those out there though. So huge congratulations to everybody who's contributing into the Southeast Region Facebook group. I love you guys. And so moving forward, everybody take a minute, post something in. What's exciting? I don't care if it's 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 3-on-1. I don't care if you forgot to take the photo even. You could still post something in. Hey, forgot to take the photo, but incredible meeting today. Here's what happened. Just give a tip. Everybody's looking for a tip as we grow the business in order to become better. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to dive into this morning. Excited to meet each and every one of our guests that we have on the line with us here today. So what I'm at each of you do is just share your, background or occupation prior to setting up an unfranchise or what you do currently. And why, how did you get introduced to the unfranchised? Let's start with that. So two things, your occupation background and how did you get introduced? How were you approached on the business? And so let's go ahead and start with Shane and Tanya this morning.
Hey, good morning, Cullen. Good morning, everybody. And, we are from the construction estimating background. That's what we did for 12 years, more commonly known as insurance adjusters. And anyway, we live in Cape Canaveral, Florida is where we reside. But we are currently in East Texas, kind of self-quarantined, maybe not necessarily, but anyway, here we are. And so, yeah, we got a phone call one day, a great phone call that said, hey, a friend said, we'd love for you to take a look at something. And it took us a while. It took us a couple of weeks to finally sit down and schedule that appointment. It was actually Kelly Whited in Orlando, who that our friend arranged for us to sit down with, because they were actually in Texas. We were in Orlando. They called us, helped us get connected with Kelly out there. And Kelly actually sat down and showed us the plan the first time.
Funny story, Kelly said he needed therapy after he sat down with Shane. So just.
A lot of questions.
Yeah, I drilled it pretty hard.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, very cool.
One of the things that happened that really pushed us toward the business, though, was I had come out of the hospital and ended up with my hair falling out, and I was on some blood thinners. So the same friend that introduced us to the business that wanted us to look at the plan sent me some products to try. And those products were amazing. It was fixed shampoo and OPC3, and they worked. So that was really the push at us. Well, okay, we really need to go sit down with these people because it worked.
There you go. That's awesome. Very cool. So, all right, Missy Mitchell, let's jump to you.
Hi, good morning. My family owns a personal training studio, and one of my clients said that I needed to talk to her husband. And as you can imagine, being in my industry, I've had everybody approach me about everything in regards to products. And I had actually tried several companies before where I love the products, but I never had any success making money. So I politely told her no twice. And she was consistent, and she said a third time, she said to me, Missy, you really need to talk to my husband. There's an educational system for weight loss. And those words that's what hit home with me, is I'm all about education. And so I took the time to look. Interesting though, I wanted nothing to do with the business because I really did think it was one of those things, even though they said it wasn't one of those things. I still thought it looked like one of those things. So I fell in love with the TLS system for many, many years. And then finally, I reached a point as a single mom where I was dropping my son off at 6 in the morning and picking him up at 6 p.m., playing both roles as parents with one income coming in. And although I loved what I did, I had no time. So for me, I finally reached a point where I thought, well, I'm already in this thing. I might as well check it out. So I did, and it's now been able to provide me to replace my income so that I could work at the gym part-time, and then I get to be home the rest of the time. Although now I'm home all the time.
Right. Very smart to build the ark before the storm, right?
Absolutely.
That's it. Okay, Aleksandra.
Hey, so my story, almost 16 years ago, I came to US, and honestly, I didn't know anyone. And from hotel management, then I decided, of course, I met my husband, plan changed, and I decided to go to the beauty school as a nail technician. But in New Hampshire, it used to be a law that you have to work 1 year for someone before when you open your salon. So I did this. And one day, one beautiful lady came in. Her name was Bonnie Philo. She used to be my client. And she said she was talking about something. And honestly, with the English thing, what she's talking about. But she said something about selling. And I'm like, okay, I sell some stuff on eBay. If I can make some extra income, why not? But what I said to her, I said, why don't you send some information? But because my husband, he's an accountant, I gave her his email. I said, oh, maybe they can network. Maybe my husband can have a, new client. But honestly, I didn't expect she's gonna send some fast disinformation. I came home and guess what? My husband said, oh, by the way, I get an email and I send her, I'm like, from who? From Bonnie Philo. And I text her, you're not interested. So we have a kind of argue. But what was happening, I was taking a shower and he was going back and forth with Bonnie. And an hour later he came in, he said, listen, on Tuesday, 7:00 works for you? I'm like, for what? For the business plan. I'm like, okay, let's see. So when Bonnie came in, we saw the business plan. Honestly, I didn't get it. Like I didn't get it. He got it, not me. I knew that, I can do something. And we said, okay, let's do it for 1 year. But honestly, struggling with English, I didn't know a lot of people. And I said, why not? Let's do it. A year later, of course, I was opening my salon. So my focus was on my salon. And I was building this and really I was struggling because you know what, look guys, you grow up here. I didn't have people. People who I knew, it was from hotel business, which I was used to work with them, live with them. So I only have limit, you know what I mean? But guess what? Learning about, products and stuff. And I was doing, focus on my salon, but I was building this part-time. And guess what? Made it happen. I learned. No Polish people. Did I struggle? Yes. But going through YouTube, going on our site, searching stuff. And 5 years ago, I closed my salon because of this business. But why did I start it? Irritation, time freedom. And guess what? I don't have family here besides my husband, it's his parents. All my family is in Poland. So guess what? It's not so easy, traveling because of the cost. When I used to own my salon, I knew it. I'm only good when I have my client. When I want to travel on Saturday to Poland, I always have to figure out, okay, I have to come back on Sunday next week because if not, I have to lose clients. I still have payments to do, $1,600 per order fee. And guess what? It always was like a hamster on the wheel, always. When I was struggling with my back, fibromyalgia, and other stuff, meningitis, my salon was closed. I didn't make any money at all. But this business helped me because guess what I could do? On the internet. So honestly, this is like the one amazing. I can only talk, positive thing about this business, what it brings. But this is my quick thing, why I was doing this. But yes, and by the way, just one thing, I have my parents with cancer. And I know that I have to go back to Poland one day for a long time. But you know what? I can bring my business with me. It's my phone. Because the distance doesn't matter. Look at us right now.
That's it. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's jump back. We're going to go to Missy. So Missy, it sounded like you started to hit on your why, of course, and your answer already. And it was, spending more time with your son and being able to be there and rocking it out there. But for you, what was one of your biggest stumbling blocks as you were getting started with your unfranchised business?
Okay. Well, I'd say the first thing is, I've always heard like you either are struggling with believing in the product, the company, or yourself. And obviously I love the product. So I fell in love with the product. And then when I went to my first convention, that's when I understood how deep this company was. And like, it was like family. So I had huge belief in the company with that. And then I did believe in myself. I would say the biggest struggle was feeling like you had to be perfect at showing the plan. I was really scared of showing the plan. And then I soon realized it was more about building relationships with people and asking questions and just really getting to know people, which I love. And it wasn't about just showing a bunch of numbers and things that I needed to be perfect on. So my biggest stumbling block was just realizing just to be yourself, ask questions, care about people, love people. And that's when everything started growing for me.
Love it. Love it. Shane and Tanya, I don't know if you guys hit on your reason why you guys were attracted or got started, but if you could hit that and then also hit on, because you guys recently are really cranking, really moving and shaking with the business. And so stumbling block for you guys as well.
So how long you want us to go here, Colin?
Yeah.
You can go all day.
I'll keep my hand out.
Yeah, she's touching. When she touches me, I'll stop talking. So, for us, we were self-employed. So time was money to us. With this, it was a lot of things intersecting at one time. We were in a place that I like how David Whitehead says it's like a caged tiger pacing back and forth in the cage, and we were trying to get out. That cage was our business. Working. We were working 90 to 95 hours a week, both of us, and loved what we did until we didn't. And so we were looking for a way out, and we were that caged tiger, and we were looking at other things, real estate and other things. This came to us at a time when we were about to give up on real estate. We weren't having very much success, nothing against that industry, but we weren't able to put that together. She also had this health crisis and was prescribed these pharmaceuticals that felt like a death sentence to us. Plus she had all this hair loss. So that was all going on. I stayed by her side while she was in ICU for 12 days and didn't work, which was fine for a while, but pretty soon that was limited. So all of this stuff was happening, and we saw this business, and it was like the cage was unlocked, and we just began to run. Now, because we agreed with the business model and liked it and saw it as our solutions, didn't mean we were ready to build. Although we did have some success initially, it was just kind of like beginner's luck, I guess. Maybe just born off of pure excitement or whatever. But we really, the stumbling block we had was just the personal growth. And so when we dove into some personal growth, then we really got control of the business. It wasn't just dumb luck anymore. It was skill and strategy and calculating.
Right. And we were inconsistent. We knew what to do once we kind of figured that out. It's the inconsistencies that was the struggle. You have to be consistent, and whatever you're doing, because if you're consistent, you'll learn and do better. If you're inconsistent, you always have to start over again. So consistency is the key, in my opinion.
And so what was the one thing that got you to be more consistent?
Me, and just saying, look, this is.
I fired her.
Yeah. Yeah. And laying out a schedule, and I function well like that. I like task-oriented things, and I can do the same thing every single day over and over and over and over again, and just making sure that I didn't get derailed from that and saying, no, I can't do that. And that's what it was. I mean, it was really just a mindset of deciding this is how we're going to do it and tweaking here and there. And not being derailed.
Tanya's always been very structured, even raising our kids. We raised 3 kids, and we had a structured routine, and we did the same thing the same way every day. And, to me, that's my personality, but it's her strong suit. It's my weak suit, so we really go together well in that. It's kind of our yin and yang, I guess. And so when I freed her up from our business to figure out a routine and a structure with Market America, then we began to see some forward momentum.
Fantastic. Okay. Aleksandra, let me jump over to you. So you already alluded to it, I think, a little bit, but so for you, one of your biggest, you had two major challenges. So it was like, you didn't speak great English and you didn't have a big network locally.
Nothing. It was nothing, honestly. So English, that was the biggest thing. Remember, my language was from hotel management. Okay, then was, a little bit, from school, but I didn't know all these languages. I remember learning about pycnogonal, couldn't even say it. Okay, what is it, bloodstream, and all this wording thing. So it was a network. I didn't know people, plus with this, okay, with language. So this was for me. And honestly, like people, when they look at me right now, they say, oh, I cannot do what you do. I'm like, do you know how many years ago, I was a shy person. When I was seeing Bonnie talking to everyone, I'm like, I cannot do what she's doing.
Come on. Are you serious? Shy?
honestly, for the first 2 years, I couldn't even show business plan. I was embarrassed because look, my husband, he was an accountant. Okay, English. Bonnie, of course, and everyone else English. And I couldn't say it. I didn't have a Polish people around me. And I remember when I went for the Moving Up seminar with Jim Winkler, even I was telling this story. I remember I was terrified. There was 12 people on the boat. They told us to bring a names list, which I really barely, I kind of wrote it down, okay, some names. And remember, struggling still with English, with all these verbages. I don't have a marketing backgrounds and stuff. So I remember, like, I was swearing on the boat, okay, when they told us to make a phone calls. And I was praying to pick up, the people will not pick up the phone because I was like terrified, okay, with this. But I can tell you, this 2 days changed my life. I came home, okay, and my husband said, hello, my baby. And I said, hello, I said, I don't need you. I don't need Bonnie. I can show the business plan. But it took me 2 years, okay, but I did everything. I sell product. I was talking, making an appointment, and then I was giving to Bonnie a bill to talk because I couldn't. That was really, I was shy. I couldn't make a phone calls. But honestly, every time you did it, you talk, you listen, you're on the call. This is so important to work as a team because when you're watching, you're listening, guess what you're gonna be doing? It's a duplication, And honestly, right now, I love cold market. I love talking to people. And people, when they see me, oh, I cannot do it. I'm like, trust me, you will. It's the same thing goes with me. So this was my biggest thing, struggle. But you have to figure out. When there's a problem, figure out what to do. Even with the products. We have amazing tools from YouTube. Like you just call it on the beginning, it just show every product is described. Like for me, for our team, like Polish people, just copy and paste in Google Translator. If you struggle, make a note. So easy because they do everything for us. So now, and by the way, what's the key for me as well? Going for the trainings. I remember my first conference and we used to struggle with money on the beginning. Let me tell you, I was going to Poland, there was a lot of money, the salon was closed. And I remember when Bonnie said, go for the conference. My husband said, we can only afford one ticket. Go and learn. Because, you're thinking conference. I'm like, okay, it's just a conference. What do you don't expect, so big. And I remember when I went, I was like, oh my gosh, like it's huge. And even honestly, people was talking on the stage. Okay, and I specialize with this. I specialize with this. I look at it myself and I said, how about me? Like, I don't know what I specialize with because I sell this product, and I don't have a specialization. And honestly, I was taking a note. I'm like, what did he say? What did he say? Writing down some few words. I'm like, oh my God, it's a disaster. But when I came home, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, I got it. And I will never, never, never miss the conference. Never. This is what it changed my life. And then language. This is what I was learning. So that was my 3 things, you know what I mean? Like I think I was struggling. No people, language, and I think I was shy. And I didn't.
So how long did it take you to go to your first conference? Did you go to the very first one that was coming up next on the calendar? And the second part of that question is, how many months did it take you to go through the pay cycle the first time, 1,500 in commissions?
I can tell you my first check, I made it in the first 90 days. Then my first check.
First check.
The first check. And I believe the first pay cycle, I think it took me, I would say like around 8-9 months.
Okay.
Yeah, 8-9 months, yes. But because I was moving products. Because for me, moving product, it's a profit. You know, you're making money, honestly. And just even like the cash flow, you know, I love it. I love it because you can invest those retail profit with the training.
Very good. Awesome. Missy Mitchell. So those are the two questions for you then. How long after you set up your account did it take you to go to your first, major, conference? And then also the second question is, how long did it take you to go through the pay cycle first time?
Okay. Well, I'm a good example of not giving up on people. Remember I said when I got started, I didn't want to go to anything. So I didn't see the plan. I just wanted to get started because of TLS. I got my kit, which back then we didn't have kits, but I got my little subscription kit and shoved it under my bed. Never looked at it for years, honestly. I just retailed products. I know. It's crazy. So I didn't see, and what's funny is I actually somehow got activated. I don't even know how I did it because people were asking me to get started because they wanted the product. And I actually received my first check in the mail and I had no clue how I did it. So I just remember getting the check in the mail and thinking, oh, well, maybe I should pay more attention and I want to do this again. So I definitely when you talk about timing, I just thought I didn't have time as a single mom, and I loved what I did and TLS and products, but I really thought I couldn't handle doing a multi-level marketing company and I wasn't going to make any money like I had in the past. And so I did start paying attention though when I got that first $300 check, and I didn't even know how I did it.
And so how long after? Maybe I missed the exact, was it years later?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got paid, for years I was retailing products and doing TLS. So I didn't go to my first international convention. It really was years. And April Rashad did a training, local training. It was one of my first. I went to Gary Rogers and then April Rashad, and she's the one that looked at me and said, Missy, if you're going to do this, you have to get to international convention. Mm-hmm. And so I went to international convention by myself. I didn't know anybody. I actually stayed with April Rashad's group. I crawled in bed with somebody I didn't know, with people I didn't know. I didn't know anybody there. And I remember thinking everybody that was there in the room, they had all these products from the company. So I was so limited to TLS, but they were showing me the shampoo and everything, all the different isotonics. And so when I went to that first big convention, that was the moment for me. That was and I remember walking in to 25,000 people and thinking, oh my goodness, this is the real deal. This is no joke. And I remember seeing the corporate team and they were family and everybody had been together since day one. And so although it took me a long time to actually get to a local and actually see the plan, which then led me, thank goodness for April Rashad, led me to a big event, I promised myself from that moment that I was never going to go to anything by myself again. Mm-hmm. And I have kept that promise. And that moment, then I joined an accountability group and the rest was history. I just, and just being that I actually come from being an athlete, that was really important to me, understanding the challenges that the company has. The accountability groups for me really helped because it's all about being on a team and holding yourself accountable. So it took me a little longer, but I'm so glad that I finally opened my mind and went, and it's completely changed my life.
Mm-hmm. Love it. And how long did it take to go through the pay cycle?
Well, see, that's the funny thing. I didn't even know I was going through the pay cycle. I didn't even know what the pay cycle was. I just started making money. I would say though it was
easy.
Exactly. But it just shows you that, the products work and people are going to come to you. If you're using the products, if you're talking about the products, it's going to happen naturally. Now, it took longer because I wasn't showing the plan, of course. But
so it might have taken you a whole year. It might have taken you, because you don't know, because you weren't really paying attention to it. The check would just show up and you were like, oh, look at that. I got a check.
Do that again. And I started paying attention to my back office and I saw thousands of BV, and I didn't even know where it came from. I didn't even know what it meant. But I started paying attention after that. But I started just making the money on retail and coaching TLS, you know, but that's not residual. It didn't make sense. So when I understood that this was so different than the other companies I had tried before, where I literally made like $60 or something, it just changed my life, seeing like, wow, this really works. And then it did happen faster and faster once I finally was like, oh, I should probably pay attention to this.
Yeah, maybe I should look at this. Yeah,
look at
there
this
you go.
thing.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, beautiful. So Shane and Tanya, same question here. Okay, so yeah.
Rephrase the question.
How long? Yeah, I know. At some point you go, what was the question again? Because I'm not sure where we went with the whole thing. So that's okay in a panel discussion. That's what makes it fun. So how long before you went to your first, big event, and, did you do it right out of the gate or, later? And then how long to go through the pay cycle the first time? 1,500 in commissions.
Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, we were pacing when we saw this. And so we got started November 1st, and then Miami convention was, the very next February. We were there. We had just qualified for our first check.
Yep.
Hadn't received it yet, but had qualified for it. And we showed up at that event. We were by ourselves, us and our upline folks. And so it was our first exposure to the big event. And we got to stand up when they said, who all has made your first $300 check? We stood up and looked at each other and went, wow,
this works.
Yeah. So then completing the pay cycle going forward, it was probably, I don't remember exactly, but it was within the next month or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Yeah.
Very cool.
And we sat and cried through the first convention the whole time because we realized this is it. This is what we've been looking for.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, literally. You'd think we'd been sitting in a church service the whole weekend. We were crying every day.
And honestly, and to be just completely transparent, which is I have a habit of being too transparent sometimes, but the first that first success really kind of came so easy to us. We just thought, we thought we were all that, and we're where we needed to be mentally, that we really didn't need to grow. Everybody else, that was for other people, but we were already okay. Because, we had done a lot by the time we had seen this. We'd been running our own business. We had pastored a church, and, we'd done a lot of things and just thought we were all that. And so, the Lord has a funny way of yanking your chain sometimes. And so we went through kind of a stale period where we were just really trying to get our head right. We were mentally constipated. But again, when, and I mentioned I fired Tanya. I didn't really fire her, but what I did, I
quit.
Right.
On retainer, but because there's not much I can do without Tanya, especially run our business. So I didn't let her get too far, but I did give her freedom. Like, this is your number one priority. Figure this out. Whatever this routine is, develop that. Whatever the skills that you lay the footprints down, and I will then walk in them behind you, and we will do this. Because this was the ticket for us. We knew we had found our people. We knew we wanted to be connected with this company, and the more and more people that we met, like you and Trinity, and of course, the very first face we ever saw at a UBP was Missy's, and she had the most beautiful smile, and I'll never forget that. I'm like, that felt. I looked at her and went, wow, okay, that felt good, and so I remember that, and so we knew with beyond the shadow, there was no question. No wavering. We knew we had found our people. We knew we had found what we were looking for. Now we just had to figure it out, or figure us out is what we had to figure out. And so, thankful. We're so thankful for the GMTSS and the audios and all the books and all the coaching, because that's what really got us through. There were times we wanted to give up on ourselves, but it was the system that kept us connected. And we never gave up on this. We were frustrated, but we're going to figure this out.
That's awesome. You know, it's so fascinating, you guys, because I think, it took Trinity and I 6.5 months to make it through the pay cycle the first time. So the reason I like that question and I want people to hear that is because so often people think, they're going slow or it ain't going fast enough. And, we're very critical of ourselves, number one, but number two, I think we live in a world of instant gratification. So everybody wants, 6 figures in, 6 days. Or 6 weeks for that matter. And when it's not going fast enough, we think we're failing. And this is why the successful entrepreneur succeeds, is because we stay the course and we understand that business, has ups and downs. And this is just business 101. But if you've never run your own business before, it can feel like, well, it's just not going to work for me. And that's really a mindset of, what you're saying there too, Shane, is that you knew you were going to make it work, which for me is super important. So we have to have some, it's not don't plan on making money for the first year. That's number one, so I've had people say that too, when they show somebody the plan, it's like, well, don't plan on making money for the first year. And I'm thinking, who says that? And first of all, who sets up a business and says, oh, don't plan on making money for the first year? The only people who do that are broke people, and mentally broke people tell other people that they want to stay mentally broke with them. Don't plan on making money in a business for the first year, because I don't know anybody who starts a business and plans on not being profitable. It doesn't make any sense other than to keep people right inside their comfort zone, And so it's fascinating to see that we also have to take the coaching, because we're all coming from different backgrounds and we think, well, I'm going to pull from that background. And because I was successful at that, I'm going to be successful at this. I'm going to do it the exact same way. And you can't do it the exact same way, but we got to pull the pieces together in order to be in order to become, more successful. Right. So Missy, I'm going to go to you. So everybody has said something as well on this. And I know all of you guys have participated in accountability groups. And so accountability groups, how important is that? And then B, how are you approaching people? What's your favorite approach as far as what you're doing right now? And whether that's changed or not over the years, or what is your favorite approach if you were going to approach somebody right now today, just to give people a tip on how Missy Mitchell is doing it?
Okay. So accountability groups, I absolutely love them. As I mentioned earlier, what I love about them is I feel like many of us, including myself, sometimes we master. So there's the basic 5, right? So we sometimes master like the basic 3 or the basic 4. And we're leaving out one of the critical pieces. And usually it's the one that takes us out of our comfort zone. So I love the accountability group because it makes you do it. And then working together as a team is always a lot of fun, and hitting challenges and things like that. So love accountability groups. In fact, some of my favorite accountability groups have been Colin and Trinity, you guys doing it. So I love your accountability groups. They're the best. And they've definitely taken me out of my comfort zone and helped my team. And as far as approaches, well, I think I've been pretty clear that I love the product. So a lot of my approach is introducing people to product and people getting an experience. And some of my best business owners and best teammates are solid because they love the product, and they're never going to go anywhere because they do love the product. So I really do love the product approach. This day and age, though, as you're saying, things are shifting. It's really listening to people. And it's interesting, recently, I've heard so many people talking in themes outside of Market America about internet, about, online business models, the word entrepreneur. So I'm always listening for people that ultimately qualify for what we do. So sometimes I have gone the route of talking to people, which we should talk to everyone, but I have been guilty of getting people started that really don't qualify for what we do. So I love just listening to people. This day and age, people are looking. Obviously, we are in a time that people are understanding that we need to leverage the internet. And what better time than teaching people that, you're converting what you're already doing to yourself. So I still use the product approach. In fact, several of my recent business partners are because of product or systems, not just product, but, like our TLS system or Nutrimetrics with doctors, but leveraging the internet and people understanding that we're doing everything online now is a great approach. And then, of course, if you're not using Zoom and leveraging all this education, I mean, it's just crazy to me that people wouldn't be plugging into everything that the company's offering, that everybody's working together. I mean, it's the best. I mean, I feel like one of the missing pieces in my life has been this connection online and the Zoom world that we're zooming around in. And I love it so much. So that's probably my approach now, is just getting people online.
So from a product approach, so you're basically, you see somebody and you're just like, whoa, you need my TLS. Like, let me tell you about how I can sell you TLS. Like, is that really the approach? I mean, so help me understand, because I know that's not it, but help me understand. Like, I want to drill down on it just a little bit more, because I know what people are thinking right now who are listening. They're thinking product approach, pretty vague. Like, so when you're listening or you notice something, or how are you approaching them? Like literally texting, calling them. And when you talk to them, like, how are you doing it?
Well, I think that's a great point, because first of all, one of my biggest fears and one of my other things in getting started that I was hesitant when you say roadblocks earlier was feeling like I had to sell something. I ultimately never wanted to feel like I was ever selling anything. So I'm not a salesy person. I genuinely care about people. I'm genuinely listening to things that they have going on. And I love what we do because we're a solutions-based business. So I never am like, you need TLS or you need this product. I'm constantly listening to people. And then I gently have a conversation with them. And of course, listening to whatever their concerns are, but most of the things are going to lead to sleep, inflammation, energy, weight loss. And then it's great because we have solutions for all of those. So I can just move them right along to that way. The other is 3-way calls. Using somebody else to help introduce a product or service that we may have. And then the third piece that I was going to say, I had something else I was going to say there. So
what is the number one tool? Are you using any tools?
Well, this getting lean for quarantine, that's been really super fun. Okay. And I just think the title in itself, getting lean for quarantine, like everybody, it's just funny. And, that's what everybody wants to do. Nobody wants to come out of this, gaining a bunch of weight. I know
I need to be more lean coming out of quarantine.
So that's been super fun. So I just use those types of things, or, overviews that we have online. That's been a great tool for me. And then of course, trial marketing. Trial marketing and introducing people to the essentials. Just in a few days, you guys know people get results. So for me, when I talk about product, it's just introducing them to solutions through trial marketing, through getting lean for quarantine. I just use a lot of those systems and tools.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you. Aleksandra. Okay. So same question. So, approaching, what's your favorite approach? How are you approaching people?
You know what? My favorite approach is the direct approach. And I use social media, Facebook, Instagram, and because as well for the last 6 years I'm building my business as well in England, which means distance, it doesn't matter for me. So I already was using for the last couple of years Messenger or WhatsApp that people can see each other. So I have to figure out how to even see people. See, I love seeing people because I can see the enthusiasm or how they react. So I learn how to use these tools, free tools, by the way. So I love direct approach, and I might go on Facebook. I might see someone, and the only things what I do, I said, and I can tell you, I just did it recently, even with Veronica. Just before the conference, I found her, on Facebook on one of those groups. And I said, look, she opened her salon, looks like she posts some nice stuff. And I just text her and I said, hey, my name is Alexandra Cummings. I came across your profile. Would you, maybe you would be interested to collaborate with me. How about coffee on Messenger? And she said, sure, we only have 10-15 minutes, but you know what? It's not about me, because if I approach her, I have no clue about her, what she does. So I always say, listen, I'm going to tell you what I have, but how about you? What do you do? Do you work for yourself? When did you open your salon? And it's just about the conversation. And I want to know if she is interested, if she's looking for something. Because look, we have so many things. So I don't know where to go with our division, because it's kind of like a big school. Think about it, big university. We have a makeup, skincare, health, okay? So I don't know if she's looking, what she specializes in. So first it's the question. Then, you know, she was in product, she bought her products from me. And I told her about the conference. And look, it was a January. Conference was in February. And I said, listen, I know it's the last minute. And guess what? She came to Miami. And by the way, after Miami, she registered her business. And now she's close to the second check. But what's happening, I like direct approach because I ask people, and this is what I always did, you know, and we always talk. The first things is always Messenger or WhatsApp. 10, 15 minutes, find out about them, get coffee. I'm talking a little bit about my business, what I do. And then if this makes sense, we go on Zoom for like an overview and business plan. So for me, it was always direct approach to see if they're looking for something, if they will be interested. And of course, with product as well, I'm leading because I'm listening what they need because I always find the solution.
Okay, so when you approach people, and so when we hear direct approach, so a lot of people, we've been trained like direct approach, a lot of people compartmentalize and say, well, direct means, you know, hey, if I could show you a way to make $2,100 a week, you know, Elizabeth Weber, I'm going to be direct. Okay. The second way is evaluate. I would love to get to know you. You get to know me. Let's see how we can help each other out. And then of course the product approach is still kind of the evaluation approach, but it's leading with products. But what's fascinating is I always love it when people compartmentalize things and go, well, okay, I'm great at getting people to evaluate products, but just not that product. And I'm like, what do you mean? There's like the plan. I'm like, well, they're all products. Like, so what's your issue? You know, because it's financial freedom, or is it OPC3, or is it, you know, some mascara? You know, it's all evaluation, right? So are you leading more with having people evaluate the business, the products, the products you're selling, like as far as tangible, you know?
It's depend of the conversation, because this is, you see, for me, the first is building the trust, building the relationship. The first 15, 20 minutes, you want to know about them. So you want to see if this person is looking for like business side or more products to their places, or they want to be. So it's all about the conversation. And then if I said, this is what I have, I don't know, what would you like? Because look, we brush our teeth. We do, you know, we shampoo our hair. Do you go to the local
Hopefully
store?
everybody's.
Oh yeah. You know what I mean? So I think it's about, so for me, it's the first talk, building the trust and see what they want. And then we move for the next. So sometimes this is a process. It's not like the first day, okay, you want to be in the business. It doesn't work. It's a building the relationship.
Gotcha. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, so, but
all right. I got one more question for, Shane and Tanya, you're going to answer that one. And I got one more for the rest of you. We need to be done by 10. And then at 10, we're going to play a game of Kahoot, like 10 quiz questions. Okay. So we've got to be done by, so we got like 7 minutes. So Shane and Tanya, what's your favorite approach?
Evaluation approach. One of the things that I did over that year after Shane fired me was listen to,
Put you on retainer.
okay, the 90-day fast track from JR, and his was the evaluation approach. And I loved giving people their excuses up front because it gave me posture in asking them to evaluate the business. And so that's what we've really taught our team to do, so that people kind of put their guard down. When you tell them in the beginning, I'd like for you to evaluate it. I know you don't have time. You wouldn't be interested, all of those things. It really will put people's guard down. And we know that once we get them to a first look, because we're not going to show them the whole plan the first time, when we get them to a first look, we know that we can book them into another thing. They're always, as long as we can get them to the first look, because it's not what they think. And people don't know what they don't know. So you got to give them all their excuses. I don't want you in my thing anyway. So whatever you got to say to get them on the first look, because we know we can push them to the next event.
I like Alex, and I always love Alexandra because I always learn something from her. And I like her. I like to do a more direct approach. It's selective, you know, it doesn't work with everyone, but it is more suited to my personality. But I've seen Tanya do what she does, and it works like magic. I don't have the same success as she does because that's more suited to her. So you have to kind of, it's like a glove, you got to find which one fits,
Right.
But understand how they work and the situations to use them in.
And the main thing is to do it. Just keep doing it.
That's it.
While you perfect it.
Do something.
You can't get it right just by pretending. You have to do it and get some good, real feedback when you're approaching people. So that's the main thing, the consistency of doing it. You have to go do it.
So, and it's all about exposure, right? Because if we
Right.
expose it to a few people and timing ain't right for them, we're dead in the water. But if we expose it to a lot of people, you know, I know sometimes people hear like numbers game, you know, and they feel like that's very insensitive, you know, because they look at the emotional side of calling it a numbers game. But the reason we call it a numbers game is because you have to talk to enough people to find the right people that are looking for a better way, a better product, service, whatever's going on. And you can't get there like, you know, even Alexandra was saying, where you're learning about them and then kind of directing traffic, or where do I go with them based on what I learn about them, right? So, okay, here we go. Rapid fire. Last question for everybody. So Shane and Tanya, I'll start with you. So fun fact that people may not know about you that, you know, they would like to know about you. And I know you guys shared 2 of them with me yesterday. You can, the first one is totally fine.
We met in high school. We were high school sweethearts. We were engaged to be married when we graduated high school together. We did each other's tassels, you know how you do when you graduate. We were literally engaged to be married. We got married about 4 weeks later. And that was about, what, 34 years ago?
34 years ago. We met when we were 14.
14. And then you guys also, didn't you say you played in a band? You played in the band.
We were in high school band together. She was a flautist, played the flute, and she also played the mini flute, the piccolo. And I was a drummer, and we were both relatively accomplished. We did a lot of competition, so we would do a drum and fife solo, just her and I. It was called, we looked it up on YouTube. There's actually a recording, not of us, but of somebody else. It was called The Downfall of Paris. And yeah, so that was our woo in high school.
There you go. There you go. Missy Mitchell, fun fact about you people may not know.
Okay. I'm the oldest of 9 children.
9. Oh my gosh.
9 kids. And
I wonder on Facebook how you're always posting. It's like, here's my brother. Here's like, you know, and I'm like, my gosh, how many siblings does she have?
It's real. So there's 9 of us, and I'm also the shortest. They're all like, I have 6 brothers, 2 sisters, and like the tallest boy is 6'8", and there's like 2 that are 6'6", and 1 that's 6'5". Everybody's really massive. And but we all start with M as well. So it's Missy, Mandy, Monty, Matthew, Michelle, Michael, Mickey, McKinley, and Morgan Mitchell.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
M&M.
Yeah, the M's. There you go.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, Alexandra, fun fact about you.
Okay, so please, you're gonna laugh, by the way. Since when I was little, I was always selling something, from guarded mentals and stuff. I can tell you the biggest business. When I was at 8 years old, I used to breed hamsters. Okay, and then I was selling them to the pet store. Okay, so one day I decided with my friends, go for biking. Okay, and I put it in an aquarium, like outside. Okay, in the shade, my hamsters. Okay, but of course my, road trip kind of, went a little bit longer. I came home and my hamster wasn't in the shade. So let's say my business ends because I roasted my hamsters. Okay.
Oh my.
I'm telling you, since when I was little, always was selling, moving, what I can do, so yeah.
I always say that every master was once a disaster. That includes all of us. Anybody who acts like they've never made a mistake is hilarious to me. You know what I mean? Give me a break. Okay. All right. Well, let's play a game of Kahoot. All right. If you've never played, you guys, what you got to do is you got to have the Kahoot game on your smartphone. Right now, I'm going to pull it up on everybody's. So what you're watching on now on your screen here. So hopefully everybody's watching on your computer. Here is the podium. In third place, I'm guessing that's Eric Giroux, E.G. Tony in second place. And in first place, We have Missy Mitchell. Woohoo! Look at that. Man. So exciting, you guys. Hey, so listen, it's fun. You know, you got to have fun in the process. I know many of you are typing in the chat. My internet is killing me. My phone is killing me. All these other reasons why we're not getting the exciting result we're looking for. But the same thing in business. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be challenges. And how we overcome the obstacle, how we overcome the challenge. Being a solution problem solver, somebody who eats challenges for breakfast is what it's about in life, let alone in building a successful business. And it's the same thing with the unfranchised. And so I just want to thank all of our guests who joined us on the line here today. I know we don't use the word recruiters, so top qualifiers. These are the three top in the Southeast as far as who has sponsored in personally the most people. I don't know if I clarified that very well when I started this thing. So just make sure everybody's clear. This isn't just their team building. These are our top 3 people who have sponsored people into the business. Anyways, it's exciting. It's super exciting. So with that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this morning just for a little bit. And next week, again, May 2nd, we're going to have on Dr. Dwight Franklin, and he's going to be talking about children's wellness and throwing some tips and strategies around that and what he does with, it's going to be exciting. I'm super excited to hang out with Dr. Dwight. Not only is he incredible at helping children, he's just a first-class person as well. So we'll see everybody next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys. Great job. Have a great weekend.